So far, we've considered how the research methods relate to the scientific credibility of a study and suggest alternative explanations. The reason those points are important, though, is because they each influence what we know from the study. In other words, they influence how we can apply the information from the results to add to our knowledge about the topic. You might remember that I used a graphic with arrows pointing toward the center to illustrate the idea of translating the results into information. Now we're thinking about how that information can help us understand something bigger, how we can use the results to expand our knowledge, represented by the arrows pointing out in this slide. For example, we can think about how the results of the Sitting Upright article helps us understand what we can do to help manage stress. When we're thinking about that, though, we also have to keep in mind that we know there are some limitations in the study design and some alternative explanations for the results. Those limitations are part of the reason we don't use the word prove when we're talking about the findings of psychological studies. So if we think about the results of this study and how they can help us learn to manage stress, we can say that sitting upright might help reduce the effects of stress. It's not accurate, though, to say that sitting upright is a proven way to reduce the effects of stress. Similarly, we could say that slouching might amplify the negative effects of stress, but it's not accurate to say that poor posture has been shown to add to the effects of stress. Shown is like proven. It's too definitive given the nature of the research. The phrase poor posture is also problematic because it might mean something different to different people. Along those lines, we couldn't make a statement about sitting up versus laying down based on this study because that's too different from how they positioned participants in the study to be supported by these results. In some ways, the examples in the last slide were pretty much just summaries of the results. When we're thinking about how the results add to our knowledge, though, we can also think about what the results suggest about behavior and related variables. For example, this study suggests that holding your head high and looking forward during stressful situations might help make the situation seem less stressful. Remember, though, that we need to be cautious about wording. We can't say anything as definitive as any situation will be less stressful if you sit upright. Part of the point of this class is that research isn't just about research. It's about adding to the larger understanding about behavior and mental processes. Given that, when we think about how the results add to our knowledge, we don't want to limit our thinking to the specific context of the research. We can generalize, as long as we do so accurately. One way to make sure we're accurate is to make sure our wording conveys the idea that we're making a suggestion based on the findings, rather than making it a definitive statement as if the results were facts. We also need to make sure the wording we use is consistent with the study and clear.